Okay, in today's video I'm going to show you how I created a simulated ripple effect, and the ripple effect kind of looks like this. You can see that I have these decreasing size or increasing size depending which way you want to go of things that look like the forefront of some waves. So once I had that, I said, okay, let's create a sign. So because I wanted ripple, I put the word ripple in here, and you can see that it masks out the part of the waves. And lastly, on this sign, I have some text, which is right here. This text, they set it to line, and then I was using my offset tool, created an offset, grouped it, and got it to work together. So that's what we're going to do. And like I said, I used some of these techniques before. I actually created this design last night as I was thinking of things to do, so I got that. So let's switch over to Lightburn, and what we're going to do is we're going to start off with an oval. It doesn't really matter. I need to change this back to line, and just to make my math easier, I'm going to set that at 300. So now that I have my oval, I want to take this oval and I want to do an offset. And I'm going to use 4. You can, depending on how thick you want that wave ripple to be, you can change this smaller or larger. I'm going to stick with 4 for now. Now what I want to do with this offset is I want to slowly bring it down so that the top matches. And I can zoom in to make sure that it's pretty close to there. Okay. So now I can set this to fill if I wanted to, and you can see there's the front. But I want to clip off the back part of this oval. So to do that, I need a rectangle. So I'll bring this back to line. I need a rectangle that is as wide as this other offset, and this one is, once again, it's 300. So I'm going to create a rectangle that doesn't matter how big it is, but it has to be 300 at minimum, and I don't care about the height. And now I want to center it on my offset. So I'll do my vertical center. Oops, vertical center, not horizontal. And now I want to bring this rectangle down so that it starts to clip. And you want to get it kind of close. I need to zoom in here. I want to get it so it clips off part of that ripple. Okay, I actually want it closer here. So you're playing with this, you want to make sure you get the way you want it. So I'm going to move my rectangle back up. I still need it there. And I'm going to group this. I need this group. And I'm going to shrink it down a little. There we go. And I want to bring my rectangle down. And I should be able to, if I zoom in right about there, I need to bring that up like this. My ripples aren't going to be exactly like I did last night, but that's okay. Okay, so now I want to get rid of this back part. I'm going to lower my rectangle a little bit more so you can see how this, I want to get it right about there, I think. So now I want to select both groups. Both are the both. Did I group that together? Probably didn't group that together here. Oh, let me group this together. Group that. Now I want to do a boolean mask or boolean assistant. So I go to my tools, boolean assistant, and I want to find out one that works pretty good. And there's that subtract. And I go, that's pretty good. Now I set this back to fill, and there's one of my waves. Pretty cool. So next is I want to make them smaller. So I realized this was 300, so I'm just going to duplicate that. I'm going to bring it up a little, and I'm I'm going to change its size from 300 to 200. Oh, that's probably too much. How about 250? Okay, and I can bring it down a little. Okay, and I can duplicate that again. And I want to make this one has to be 200. And finally one more. Duplicate. And I'll make this 150. Okay, so now that I have that, I want to make sure that these are all centered. So there, vertical center, finishing vertical center, and lastly this one, vertical center. Now, I didn't actually calculate what the spacing is on all these, so I'm going to highlight them all, select them all, and I'm going to go to my vertical space, and I want to distribute these vertically spaced, and there we go. So there's my waves. Now I have them all. I want to group them. I want to leave that as a group. Now the next part, if you remember, I need to have some text. So the word ripple. Okay. So I want to put the word ripple. I'm going to use a script style font for this, and just pick my text here, and I want to, I think I use something like Bluebell, which pretty close. Now that's the text I use. Now I want to make it bigger, and I want to make sure that it's big enough. Oops. That it encompasses most of that. Right about there. And I want to center it on this group. Center. Okay, now to make this work really cool, is I need to then do an outline of that word ripple. Again, that's an offset tool. And I'm going to do outward shapes only, I think, but I want to make this really small, like 0.75. And I want to change that color to red. And I want to make sure that's set to line. I think I should just, I need to back off here. I need to do shapes only, and then do red and line. There we go. Okay, so the next part is I want to take my red line and my ripples, and I want again use my boolean assistant, and I want to find out which one works the best. And I like that subtract, so it gets rid of that. Okay, now notice that really can't see the red outline, so I'm going to cancel this, go back, and I'm going to change that from 0.75 to 1. Once again, make it red. I want to make sure it's set to line so I can see it, and I'll do that boolean assistant again. So the red line and my ripples, and if I remember correctly, it was the subtract. There, see a little more definition. Okay, so there's my ripple. So the only last thing I want to do for this is I want to put some text up here. So I'm going to put some text. I want to change the font. So we're going to do really Courier New should work here. And let your kindness. Now that's really big, and I want this leave the red for now, but the font is really big, so I need to shrink it down. And I also want to decrease the vertical space. And I want to be able to fit it in somewhere in here. Kind of like that. Now the next thing to do is once again use my offset tool. Go back to offset tool. And one. And turn off the outer shape so I can get my inside. And I think I need to make that like a 0.5. Go OK. Now zoom in. I can group those. I can change that to blue. And there's the somewhat finished effect of using my ripple. And once again, it's using the boolean assistant and offset tool, and you can make these ripples as big or as small as you want. So that's today's little demo. I hope you'll find this interesting, and we'll talk to you again soon. You take care, everyone.